city of London is a beast that never sleeps. At 5 a.m., the streets of Canary Wharf are usually buzzing with the early morning rush of bankers and traders. But on the 42nd floor of the prestigious glass tower, silence reigned supreme. This was the home of Sarah Jenkins, the CEO of Jenkins Global, a woman whose net worth was estimated at $2.4 billion. Sarah was a creature of habit. Every morning at 5:30 a.m., her smart curtains would draw back, her espresso machine would begin to hiss, and she would start her day. But today, the curtains remained closed. The espresso machine sat cold. The only sound in the room was the rhythmic, persistent buzzing of a smartphone on the nightstand. When her assistant, Elena, entered the room with the morning files, she found Sarah lying on her back. Her eyes were open, fixed on a painting of the ocean on the opposite wall. Her face was pale, almost translucent in the dim light. She looked like she was sleeping, but her chest wasn't moving. Elena reached out to touch her hand. It was like touching ice. Sarah Jenkins was dead. In a room, locked from the inside, protected by the most advanced security system in the world, a billionaire had vanished into the afterlife. There were no signs of a struggle, no poison in her tea, no fingerprints on her neck. To the world, it looked like a tragic heart failure. But in the world of true crime, a perfect death is the biggest red flag. Detective Kabir was a man who belonged to the old world but lived in the new one. He didn't trust technology. He trusted shadows and motives. When he stepped into Sarah's bedroom, he didn't look at the body first. He looked at the router. He looked at the smart lights. He looked at the smart fridge. Everything in this house is connected to the internet, Kabir whispered to his partner. And if it's connected, it's vulnerable. The initial autopsy report came back within 12 hours. The cause of death: sudden cardiac arrest. But Kabir noticed a tiny detail. Sarah was a health freak. She ran 10 kilometers every day. She had the heart of a 20-year-old. Why would it just stop? He took Sarah's phone to the cyberforensics lab. They spent 36 hours cracking the 256-bit encryption. When they finally got in, they didn't find emails about business or stocks. They found a secret life. 6 months before her death, Sarah had joined an exclusive, anonymous social network for high-net-worth individuals. She was lonely. Success had pushed everyone away. That's where she met Mark Apex. Mark was different. He didn't want her money. He claimed to be a software architect living in the Swiss Alps. For months, they exchanged thousands of messages. Sarah, you spend your life protecting your billions, but who is protecting you? Your heart is under so much stress. Let me help you. Mark convinced Sarah to use a prototype app he had developed. He called it Aegis. It was designed to link with her medical devices. Sarah, who had been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes years ago, used a smart insulin pump, a device that sat on her hip and automatically injected insulin when her sugar levels were high. Mark's app, Aegis, was supposed to monitor the pump and alert him if Sarah's vitals dropped. In reality, it was a Trojan horse. It was a remote control for a murder weapon already attached to her body. Kabir tracked the IP address used to send the final command to the app. It wasn't from Switzerland. The signal was coming from a small, dusty apartment wasn't a smile of a killer, but the smile of someone who had finally finished a long, exhausting task. "I didn't kill her, Detective," Arjun said softly. "The system she built killed her. 20 years ago, Sarah Jenkins signed a deal that liquidated a small manufacturing firm in Manchester. My father was the head of that firm. He lost everything: his pension, his dignity, his house. He hung himself in the garage while I was at school. Sarah didn't even remember his name. To her, he was just a cost-cutting measure. Arjun had spent 15 years learning to code. He didn't want to shoot her. He wanted her to feel the betrayal of someone she trusted. He had catfished her, made her fall in love with a ghost, and then used her own life-saving medical device to deliver a lethal dose of 500 units of insulin while she slept. The trial of Arjun was the most talked about event in the country. Half the world saw him as a cold-blooded murderer. The other half saw him as a hero of the working class. But the law is black and white. Arjun was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As Arjun was being led away from the courtroom, he looked at the cameras one last time. He didn't look sorry. He had traded his freedom for a sense of justice that the courts could never provide. The glass tower penthouse was eventually sold to another billionaire. The smart curtains were replaced. The security was upgraded. But the story of Sarah Jenkins remains a chilling reminder of the digital age. We surround ourselves with smart devices to make our lives easier, but we forget that every door we open for convenience is a door we open for our enemies. In the end, Sarah died holding her phone, waiting for a message from a man who never existed. A billionaire killed by a ghost in the machine. A daughter of greed, destroyed by a son of revenge. The case is closed, the digital trail has gone cold, but the lesson remains. In the world of technology, your greatest connection might be your final disconnection.